الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين نبي محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن استنى بسنته إلى يوم الدين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا اللهم بما علمتنا وزدنا اللهم علما وعملا إنك ولي ذلك القادر عليه. أما بعد، فهذا هو درسنا في بلوغ المرام للحافظ بن حجر رحمه الله وغفر الله لنا وله. وكنا في صدد المراجعة لباب أو لكتاب الطهارة، ووقفنا عند الحديث الخامس عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم: لا يغتسل أحدكم في الماء الدائم وهو جنب. So this we're reviewing the earlier hadith from the book of Purification, from the Bulugh Al-Maram, and we last time we talked about the water, and just because this is important that a person recognizes in purification what to use to purify oneself, and what takes the water out of the pure state and what doesn't, to remove any doubts in his worship. And the origin is that the water is pure. Okay, the water is pure, and it is purifying, and it will only leave that element if one of three attributes are changed with impurity, either the smell or the taste or the color, like urine. If the one of these attributes has now is if the urine goes into the water, and one of these three attributes is now the attributes of urine, the smell, the taste, or the color, then it's no longer water. It's no longer pure. And we mentioned also that the water may become mixed with something which is pure. And if that mixed element becomes the dominant element in the mixture, like orange water, okay, then it's no longer can be used for purification, like rose water, because the dominant element is now other than water. Orange, for example, if you squeeze enough orange into the water, now is no longer water. It's water that's connected to the orange. Now it's now الماء مضاف إلى غيره يعني وليس على إطلاقه. It's not the water now, the general form is now connected to something else. So we talked about that last time, and now we're talking about the etiquettes of how one deals with the water, that which either takes it out of the pure state, by our actions, or makes it something which is looked down upon, or which would cause a person to be disgusted by our action, okay, and may cause a person and to basically be turned away from this water. Okay, so this is the hadith number 5. Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, one of you must not take a bath in standing water like a pond, or something like that, and whilst he is in a state of major impurity, janaba. Okay, so the reason why we said that janaba is not, there's no impurity, it's not najasa, as we said that in the hadith, Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu لما كان جنوبا فكان يمشي مع النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ثم يعني ذهب عنه خفية واغتسل ثم رجع إلى النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وسأله أين كنت؟ فقال كنت جنبا. قال يا أبا هريرة إن المؤمن لا ينجس. لا ينجس. فالجنابة يعني لا يجعل الإنسان ينجس الماء لما يغتسل فيه. ليس هذه العلة. So the reason is not because a person is carrying filth. As you said, when a person is in sexual impurity, there's no filth on him. It's a spiritual condition, right? Al-Hadath al-Akbar, a spiritual condition of impurity. So he has to take a bath before he can worship. But he has no filth on him. Okay? But so why is he not allowed to take a bath in standing water? Although there's no filth, there may be some secretion, like many. We said many, as we covered in the other chapters, is not filthy. It's not najis, the semen. With the proofs, as we'll review also, the Prophet ﷺ sometimes had it on his clothes, and Aisha radiallahu anha would scrape it off and not wash it, not all the time. So this shows that the fact that she didn't wash it and he prayed in it shows that it is not impure. If it was impure, he would not be able to pray in it. You have to wash it first. So the fact that the person who takes takes a dip into a lake, for example, in a state of janaba, or he takes a bath, tries to take a bath in a state of janaba, he's going to have some of these secretions on him, some semen or the like, and so this is disgusting. If someone sees him doing that, he'll be disgusted, and even he may make it dirty with these, not filthy but dirty. Okay, we have to see the difference. Okay, so the reason is, so why did the author bring this hadith in this chapter? He's not talking about taking the water out of the purified state. We said it will not. When a person makes janaba and takes a bath, it doesn't take it out of purified state, but it is to show that it should not be done because it is disgusting. It may cause a person to be turned away. Imagine a person, drinks from this water, and it's just not from the manners. It's harming. It falls in the general principle of not to harm others. So I'm gonna take a bath in this water. I know someone is gonna come later drink from it. I'm harming this person. I'm making this water disgusting. Then he won't want to drink from it anymore. Yeah. So because why? It's standing water. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Fil ma'i da'im," the standing. There's a difference we understand between standing water, like a creek or a lake or a pond, and running water. Running water like a river, like such things, streams. If it's running, there's whole different rulings now, because now the water will be renewed, and that whatever elements or secretions that came from you in this position, this part, the water, fresh water will come and dilute it and run it away, and it will be as if it has no effect on the water anymore, because it's running water. So the rulings are different between standing water and running water. Also that applies to like a marsh or something like that. So because the standing water, the lake, it's not moving, right? So it's not renewing in that fashion. Only if the rain comes, then it would be some renewal of the water, and that which had come into it of disgusting or filth, that would be diluted or affected in a way, and not having any harm. But that would happen occasionally. It doesn't rain every day. Okay, but the water that's running, river, it will all the time be regenerating or renewing, so it has nothing of that filth or disgusting element will remain. So that's why he brought this hadith. Also, so he brought this hadith that to show that this is not the point of the hadith is not that it's making it impure, but because it's a different. It falls into إِذَاء الْمُؤْمِنِينَ, harming the believers, harming other people. This is a reason for many things that are haram. It's not because it's filthy, but it's disgusting. It's something which is تعافو النفوس. The souls are turned off from this. And this is a psychological or like a spiritual harm to others, even if not physical. So that's that hadith. And another hadith related, the next one, or للبخاري عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال لا يبولن أحدكم في الماء الدائم الذي لا يجري ثم يغتسل فيه أو ثم يغتسل فيه. So next hadith, any question on that one? No. The next hadith, one of you must not urinate in standing water, that which does not flow, and then take a bath in it. And then take a bath in it. Okay. So there's different understanding of what does it mean, and then take a bath in it. The first part we already discussed. Or I'm sorry, this is now urination. I'm sorry. The first one was taking a bath whilst in a state of sexual impurity. That's why, because it's disgusting. This hadith is one should not urinate. Now we're talking about filth now. This is najasa. In standing water. And then come and take a bath in it. So what does it mean? And then take a bath in it. Means that كما قال الشيخ ابن عثيمين رحمه الله يعني أنه من أقبح الأشياء أن شخصا يبول في الماء الدائم ثم بعد ذلك يحتاج إلى هذا الماء. فهذا شيء غير معقول. هو قد لوث هذا الماء ونجس هذا الماء ثم يأتي بعد ذلك ويحتاج إليه ويغتسل منه ويلوث نفسه. هذا غير معقول. وهذا تعافه نفسه وكذلك تعافه النفوس الأخرى. هذه الإلة في النهي. هذا هو المعنى عند بعض أهل العلم ثم يغتسل فيه. So here when he says one of you should not urinate in standing water, that's obvious, because you're putting filth in water which is not regenerating. Okay, it's not renewing. And if you do it enough times, it will make it filthy. Maybe not the first time, because if it's like you said, a lot of water, and one time a person urinates, it may not have much impact because it will be diluted in that water. But if eventually, because it's standing water, and maybe with repetition, it will cause an effect by changing either the smell or the taste or the color. So that's why the prohibition, because it will lead to that. Now, why does he say, and then take a bath in it? It means that this is something which is a person, this is the only water he has, okay? Or this is a water that he may need, okay? So he urinates in it, and then he has to take a bath. He'll go and take a bath in the same water which he just urinated in. So this is something to indicate to him the filthiness of this act, that this is a water that he's going to need, and it's a standing water. So why would he subject it to filth? So because he's going to need to take a bath eventually, or other people will need to take a bath from this water. So why subject others to this filth, if not yourself? So this is the meaning of that, the hadith, and as some scholars explain. وهذا نذيره أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم نهى أن يجلد الرجل امرأته جلد العبد ثم يضاجئها، لأن هذا مناف للفطرة وتعافه النفوس. كيف هو في الصباح يضرب امرأته، يجلده جلدة العبد، ثم في الليل يحتاج إليها أن يضاجئها. فهذا أمر تنافي الفطرة السليمة. So this is like another hadith similar. This hadith is in Bukhari. Prophet ﷺ said, or prohibited, that a man should lash his wife or beat his wife like beating like a prisoner or something, basically very harshly, and then and then he literally beating a slave. It says literally beating a slave. Obviously, if he's done something to deserve that, but then he would have relation with her in the night, or following that. So obviously, this is not a slave. This is a wife who's honored. Okay, so to uh, you know the connection between these two shows the abhorrence of the act. That this is a woman that you seek something from her, you know, and you're going to treat her and disrespect her and abuse her, and then you're going to take what you need from her. Similar to the water. How this is the water that you may need. How could you just abuse it like this and make it filthy when you're going to need it later? So this is similar to that meaning. Okay. And as you said, the urine eventually with repetition, يعني البول في الماء الذي لا يجري لأنه إذا بال فيه استقذرته النفوس وربما مع كثرة البول وقلة الماء يتغير الماء بالنجاسة فيفسد. So yeah, the first time a person urinates, as you said, the principle of the last class, he may not make it impure, but this, if it's allowed with repetition, eventually he could make it impure. So that's why he brought in this chapter. Uh, and okay, so this shows that the Sharia it gives importance to the not just from avoiding filth, but to avoid anything that's disgusting. That's a level less than filth, but the Sharia came to respect people's feelings, and to be above that disgusting nature. Uh, so this is one of the benefits Sheikh mentioned. Also, when it comes to running water, okay, we said standing water for sure. The hadith is clear. Don't urinate in it ever. Okay, ever. What if it's running water? The origin is allowed to urinate in running water. Okay, except the Sheikh mentioned if downstream, there's people who are using the water, taking from it, making wudu from it, drinking from it. Now it falls back under the other principle of harming the people and uh, making life difficult for them, or turning them, disgusting them, and turning them away from the benefit. So from that aspect, it would be forbidden. Okay, even if it's running water, and of course, this is applying to standing water, which is like the waters which were at the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Al Medina. They didn't have big bodies of water. This doesn't apply to like a huge body of water like an ocean or the like. So of course that's too much water, and there will be no effect on it. In that aspect. So the next topic we'll take quickly inshallah. وعن الحديث السادس عن رجل صاحب النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال نهى رسول الله أن تغتسل المرأة. Or maybe we should stop. Maybe it's time for Isha. We can go. Okay. نهى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أن تغتسل المرأة بفضل الرجل أو الرجل بفضل المرأة وليغترفا جميعا. أخرجه أبو داود والنسائي وصححه الشيخ الألباني رحمه الله في صحيح أبي داود. Okay, the next topic is dealing with some etiquettes of using water which someone has taken a bath in already. The question is when, for example, if our spouse takes a bath in water, and of course this is like in a bucket or something, not running water. When we talk about the The tub, for example, there's no water remaining. Everything flows down the drain. So we're not talking about that. If, for example, we had a tub of water and our spouse takes a bath in it, okay, and then we come later to take a bath in it, what is the ruling? Or vice versa. I take a bath in this bucket and someone else comes and wants to take a bath in it. So the first hadith, uh, there's a wording is a prohibition that a woman should take a bath with the water remaining after the bath of a man, or that a man, the vice versa, or the man should take a bath with the remaining water from the bath of the woman. But rather they should they should go at the same time and each basically take either with a small pail from the big bucket or with their hands take out water. But usually you need a bucket. You need like a small container, a cup or something to pour on you from the bigger container. And so there's different opinion about this hadith. Okay, first of all, there's some scholars who do not view it authentic. Okay, uh, but assuming as other scholars do that it's authentic, how do we understand it? Okay, uh, so one of the scholars, Imam al-Khattabi. Okay, first of all, let me read the other two hadiths so we see why there's difference of opinion on the understanding. There's another hadith from an Ibn Abbas رضي الله عنهما أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم كان يغتسل بفضل ميمونة رضي الله عنهما أو رضي الله عنها أخرجه مسلم. وأيضا حديث الحديث الثامن أيضا عن عبد الله بن عباس رضي الله عنهما اغتسل بعض أزواج النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في جفنة فجاء ليغتسل أو يتوضأ منها فقالت إني كنت جنبا فقال إن الماء لا يجنب. هذا الحديث صححه الشيخ الألباني رحمه الله. So the other two hadith in this topic are from Abdullah ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with them, both him and his father, that the Prophet ﷺ, he used to take a bath with the remaining of the bath of Maymuna, his wife. And Maymuna was the aunt of Abdullah ibn Abbas. So he said now that yes, the Prophet ﷺ used to take a bath from the remaining bath of Maymuna. Okay, radiyallahu anha. And so and the next hadith is similar meaning, that the one of the wives of the Prophet ﷺ, and this apparently is also this referring to Maymuna because it's also from Abdullah ibn Abbas, referring to his aunt, took a bath from Jafna, which is like a big bucket, okay, and the Prophet ﷺ came later to take a bath from it or to make wudu from it. So she said, indeed, I was in janaba. I took a bath from sexual impurity before. So he said, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, the water does not cause impurity or does not become impure from this effect or from this bath. So so first of all, it will be clear if the first hadith is weak, then there's no problem. Okay, the first hadith was that a prohibition of the man to take a bath with the remnant water of the wife, or vice versa. And that way we could see that the Prophet ﷺ's action is the origin, that a person can take the bath from the remaining water of his wife. Now, there's another explanation, which is that the first hadith is not for prohibition, is for an etiquette. You know, that the etiquette is that the Shaykh ibn Uthaymeen rahimahullah, he said when the husband and wife are after having in that condition, they should take a bath together. You see, first of all, that saves the water, okay, and secondly, it's a bond between the husband and wife, and there's no shame between husband and wife. Okay, so the etiquette is to do that together, not for one to use and then come a second one to use. In, we said, a standing bucket. Okay, standing bucket we're applying to. That's one. That's the second explanation. The first one was the first hadith is weak. The second one is that the prohibition is not for, yeah, the it's not for prohibition. It's showing manners. You know, that is better to take a bath together. The third explanation, Imam Khattabi rahimahullah, he said, يعني ان يعني عموما فضل للماء يطلق وقد يراد به الماء المتبقي في الإناء بعد اغتراف الإنسان منه، وقد يطلق ويراد به الماء المتساقط من الأعضاء بعد غسلها. وقال هذا الحديث في النهي يراد منه الماء المتساقط بعد غسل الأعضاء ولا يراد منه الماء يعني المتبقي بعد الاغتراف منه. اوكي، فجمعا بين الحديث هذا والحديثين الأخريين بأن حديث اغتسال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بفضل ميمونة كان ذلك بعد اغترافها من الماء ثم جاء وهو يغترف منه، لا أنها انغمست في الماء ثم هو جاء انغمس في نفس الماء. هذا هو إيراد النهي فيه. أما أو الماء المتساقط من أعضائها فما يجوز لإنسان أن يعني يتوضأ أو يغتسل من هذا الماء المتساقط. So here there's a third explanation, which is that there's two when it comes to the prohibition of the husband taking water or taking a bath with the remains of the wife or vice versa. This is in the case that she goes into the vessel, you see, and or the remnants of her wash splashed back into the vessel, into the container. Here, it's not from the etiquette to do that. Going back to the first hadith he mentioned, hadith Abi Hurairah, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, لا يغتسل الرجل في الماء الدائم وهو جنب. It goes back to the first hadith we took today, that a person should not take a bath in standing water whilst he is in sexual impurity, because it's disgusting, because there's going to be something of the water of that's on your body from after the sexual event intercourse that would splash back into the container, and that would make it disgusting upon the person who comes later, even if it be the spouse. Okay, so the prohibition is that a person should not go into the container or should splash back into the container, and then someone would come later and use the remnants of that splashed back water, or that which once secretions had come into that water. So similar to that. The next hadith, the Prophet ﷺ took a bath with the remnants of Maymuna. This is another meaning of the remnant. It means that she did not go into the water. She only scooped from the water. Okay, so in the case of scooping from, even in a state of sexual impurity, and the water is standing, you're always allowed to scoop. You see, because when you scoop, you're not getting any of your bodily secretions into the water. So we say this is the understanding of the hadith of the action of the Prophet ﷺ with the remnants of the bath of Maymuna, that she had scooped and he scooped later. Okay, and that's always going to be allowed. So this is one understanding also of that hadith. Now, so why we say that? Because the first hadith of Abu Huraira, where one should not take a bath in standing water while in sexual impurity, he was asked, Abu Huraira, كيف يفعل إذن يا أبو هريرة؟ قال يتناوله تناولا أي بإناء صغير. This is reported in the one narration of Sahih Muslim, when the first hadith about the person taking a bath in standing water whilst he's in sexual impurity, he was asked, Abu Huraira, should one do it then? If he has to take a bath and he has nothing but standing water, what should he do? He said he should scoop up from that standing water, be it a lake or a pond, and with a small vessel, a small cup, and so on, take a bath outside of the body of water. So we can apply that, and that's hadith in Sahih Muslim, that Abu Huraira's explanation of how to do it, that we can apply to this matter of the remnants of the or a person, husband and wife having one body of water, one container. The etiquette is that the first one, if they're not allowed, the etiquette first of all is to take a bath together. But if that's something someone doesn't want to do, that's fine. This is just a recommendation, or how he did, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But if he doesn't, that's fine. But then what should one do? The first one who goes to the water should scoop out and take bath outside of the standing water, and likewise the second one. Or the second one, obviously, if that's the last bath, can do what he wills. But the point is that a person should not get into the standing water, make it disgusting upon the one who's going to come later. So that's how we understand that from those etiquettes. وإن شاء الله نكتفي بهذا القدر والله تعالى أعلى وأعلم ونواصل إن شاء الله الحديث في الدرس القادم إن كان في الأمر بقية. Any questions on that topic? No. So inshallah, we'll try to cover more next class and move faster in the review, inshallah, so that we can review these matters and they stick with us, inshallah. And I always recommend to try to review the hadith at home, so they become familiar with them, because this is a good way to keep the issues, keep the matter, because sometimes it can become confusing. So I try to always also getting used to the Sahaba, the narrators of the hadith, and the books of Sunan. Like I try to do this, of course, as one is able, but it's always good to try to memorize as much as possible, because this is a good way, to keep the knowledge in the hearts, in the minds. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam wa huwa al-muwaffiq wa jazakumullahu khairan ajma'in wa akhiru da'wana anil hamdulillahi rabbil alamin.